Anthropic just gave small businesses a plugin that will connect their Claude to their QuickBooks, their PayPal, and HubSpot. But before you plug it in, I want to show you the workflows that I would actually test and the ones that I would still keep a human on it. And previously, I did do a walkthrough of Cowork in April, and I've also done some videos since. But that was different. I was building workflows completely from scratch. This is a plugin that Anthropic made specifically for small businesses, and I want to show you what's in it before you actually connect it to your books. So from what I've seen, it is aimed at the messy stuff: accounting, payments, CRM, design, contracts, emails, files, and calendar work. And that does sound useful, but we also need to make sure we are careful about what it can actually touch. My name is Chase. I create videos on practical ways to use AI for small teams or businesses. And this is not a press release or some hype video. The question I'm looking at is not, is this impressive, but is this something I would actually let it do for me? And where would I actually keep the person in the loop? So first, before we dive into, we should start with what is a plugin for those of you that might not know already. So a plugin is something that Claude personally provides that includes skills, which are reusable task instructions. It can also include connectors, which are business tools that Claude can either read from or work within. And in Cowork, it can include more agent-like pieces like subagents or hooks. And the reason this matters is pretty simple. Instead of starting from a blank chat every time, the plugin gives Claude a workflow that it already understands. We'll go ahead and actually look at where to find these plugins. So once you're on your Claude desktop, whether you're in chat or Cowork, I'm going to start in Cowork, you go down and hit that plus button, and that's where you will actually find your plugins. And these plugins are for specific types of work. I have data, marketing, and small business that I recently added, but there's a ton of other options out there that it's still expanding on. And then you have your connectors, which with the plugin, it usually comes with some. And for those, you do have to approve them when using the plugin. And then you have your skills. And the skills you get from the plugin will actually stay within the plugin, but they will still be used like normal. And your skills that you've personally made or personally got from somewhere else will stay separated. So we'll go ahead and go to manage plugin. And to add plugins, you just go browse plugins. I'm saying plugins a ton, but once you're here, you'll pretty much see all the different types. And I need to do better at this, but I definitely need to check this more, because a lot of the time the skills it has or the connectors are extremely useful. They are well thought out and they help a lot. So as you can tell, there's just a ton. I think when it started out, there was 8 of them, and that was a huge deal. But now you have product management, you have legal, you have finance. I'm not sure if I would take the legal as legal advice. I definitely check it, but I'm sure it's some other small workflows along those lines. But you could check out any of those. So if you click in to the Claude Small Business, you can view it on the website. I have done this, and I think it was 2 paragraphs, not a ton of information in there. So what is it used for? Basically, Anthropic came out with this plugin to position itself with the tools that small owners are already using, like QuickBooks, PayPal, HubSpot, Canva, DocuSign, Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, and other tools like Slack. They are workflows like planning payroll, closing the month, building a morning brief, running a campaign, chasing invoices, reviewing contracts, and also spotting customer issues. So it's not giving you small little chats, but it's actually giving you workflows you can implement. And as we know it, AI is changing from answer my question to work across my tools and stage my next step. With that in mind, let's take a look at some of the skills, and one of them being plan payroll. So you have your steps. So when looking at the skill, you have your steps of the workflow, and then also the approval gate at which you need to approve it before it goes on, and then also the output at the bottom. The useful version of this is not that AI pays everyone. The useful position of this is AI looks at my QuickBooks and PayPal context, looks at the cash position that I'm in, and also incoming settlements, ranks overdue invoices that could close the gap, and then drafts reminder emails. And then it could also forecast for this and then have a human approve it before any other steps are taken. So we'll go over some of these skills and just briefly cover them and possible ones to try out. So anything that connects to QuickBooks, PayPal, or your booking or accounting, that one I leave up to you and how much you trust the privacy of Claude Cowork, and if you're okay giving that much access to Claude. I would suggest having either a business account or an enterprise account so it's not training on your data when you do that. But if you're completely okay with it, then I would say go ahead. But I would not have it doing anything that is risky, like doing your books for you or assigning things, especially if it comes to your taxes. But as we go through this list, we have our skills and then also reference documents. So a business pulse would just basically look at all your connected items, and it gives you a brief and anything to keep an eye out for, and then also computes some metrics for you. And if you look at the Friday brief and then also the Monday brief, this will call on the business pulse skill. You have your call list, which will just help you with outreach, your Canva creator, which will actually connect to Canva and help you build things. So it looks like it can help you with both emails and then also Instagram. And it has pretty much a workflow, a calendar, and then an assets inventory that you should keep for it, and much more information. But basically, it will help you actually create content for your marketing. Close month, that's something a little bit more risky, but you can give you an update and not actually have it change anything and still leave the human changes for approval. And it does actually have approval gates at the end of most of these skills. You have your CRM cleanup, which if you do have HubSpot, then you can connect it to and it will actually help you clean it up based on these workflows. And then if we move down, we have our customer pulse. And this one's cool because it will actually check Google and Yelp reviews and then tell you how everything's doing and look at PayPal or HubSpot tickets or pull Gmail threads, a bunch of different things. You have your lead triage, which is something you can do, low risk with it, margin analyzer, price check. So a ton of different skills. You have small business onboarding, which this one's interesting because it will actually ask you, the user, about your business and then also give you some advice on what to do next, which is also to have, or it's a great skill to have in this. Then we have the small business router, which is okay. So basically, what it does is it listens to what you need and then routes them to the best skill or slash command to help them. So basically, it's trying to make it as easy as possible to adopt. Then you have test season organizer and a ton of good things to help you out. I think those SMB onboard and SMB router will really help people navigate this. I think that's a great add. But overall, ton of good stuff in here for small businesses. We go back to the plugins and the connectors. So even though you download the skills, that doesn't mean you actually have the connectors attached. So most of these will not run because it won't be able to connect to the appropriate connectors. So if you don't have QuickBooks attached, it won't actually attach to it. And some of these skills have a workaround saying if it's not connected to QuickBooks, then do this. If you do want to install these and you do have these or use them, just go in and hit install. And then for the ones you already have, you could just hit connect. So like Square, Slack, Stripe, DocuSign, Canva, I already have that, HubSpot, and PayPal. So any of those you have. So what I would do to start off is just start with a Monday brief and see how it interacts with those systems. It should just be pulling data from it instead of actually interacting with it. And then from there, I would start with some pain points. For example, Canva Creator. In the past, I've tried to use Cowork with Canva and I haven't had the most success. So I would still try it out because maybe these new skills will actually make it easier for posting. And then from there, I would start working down the list. Maybe your CRM isn't on the list, so you can't connect it. So those are kind of out, but you could look at your customer pulse. That one's an easy, low risk return for that. On previous information, you might not have how many people check the Yelp reviews. So that would be a good one. And pretty much try as you go. And for my part, I will do a video series specifically on each of these skills. I will try them out, at least the ones I can. I do not have a QuickBooks. I don't have a CRM that I can access. So I won't be able to do those, but any of these that do have the connectors that I have, I will actually do some videos on. And this plugin matters because you're not starting from scratch. You're starting with an actual workflow that they've designed. And maybe you take the workflow and you tweak it just a bit. Whether it's the skill document or maybe it's the connector. Maybe if you find a new connector and copy the skill, then you can have a similar result. Overall, if you already have a Pro Claude account, then definitely download the desktop if you haven't and add this personal plugin because if anything, it will help you more than it will hurt you unless you go wild with it. And the last thing I will say about it is make the first test that is something reviewable, that you can actually see the results and see if it's giving you the output you want. And then as you go up in complexity, you will still have to review those results and make sure it's accurate, but you will have at least actually tried it before instead of jumping in the deep end. And if you're watching this, drop in a comment on one suggested workflow that maybe you're struggling with and want to see me actually work out. Hopefully it's not CRM because I do not have one of those, but maybe I'll just get one for the heck of it. But thank you guys. If you guys like the video and the content, then please like and subscribe.